Good morning and welcome to the last and final Ready to Work session in this series. And today I'm too excited because of my panelists and because of the topic that we'll be discussing. Now, before we begin, like you saw, my name is Lucy and I have a short story for you. It's the fable of a rooster and a sparrow. Long time ago, there lived a rooster and a sparrow. The rooster had golden wings and he lived in a kingdom and ruled it with such majesty. And one day, as the sparrow was flying, just minding his own business, he got tired and rested near the compound of the rooster. And the rooster was so shocked and yelled, "How dare you land in my compound and try to disrupt the peace and quiet?" And then the sparrow was like, "Oh, no, I'm not that type of a guy. That's not what I want. But since I'm here, how about I teach you and your chickens how to fly?" And the rooster was shocked. "How dare you? What an indecent proposal. Who said I want to fly? I'm okay the way I am, and I like my chickens the way they are, just here chilling with me so I can see them and see what they're doing." And then the sparrow replied, "Okay, I won't disturb you or interfere with your personal issues, so I leave you to it. But please just know you'll always be in danger until the day you develop your own wings to fly." And he flew away. Now, the next day, a farmer came, and some said it was unfair, and some said the cuckoo soup was amazing. End of the story. Now, my name is Lucy, and I'm here with my fellows sparrows who are going to help you to know how to fly, to get the wings, to know how to fly. And all this is brought to you courtesy of Ready to Work, which is an Absa program which teaches young people, which gives you the skills and teaches you how to, navigate the world of work when you leave school to the world of the environment. And right now, if you go to the Ready to Work program, which is at Absa, which is at readytowork.absa.africa, you'll find 4 modules. That is money skills, people skills, entrepreneurship skills, and which one did I forget? Work skills. And we've done webinars on all of them. We've discussed how to, get into the work environment, how to deal with people, how to handle your money, how to start your own business, how to be self-employed. But today's topic is a bit different. It's not in the modules, but it's called Future Skills. And we have Dr. Bright, who you'll be meeting shortly. We have Amina Abdi, who's an amazing lady. Again, you'll get to meet her shortly. And we have our very own HR director, Mombi, who you'll also get to meet shortly. Now, before we begin, I urge you to go to the Ready to Work platform at readytowork.absa.africa. You'll see the URL running down your screen. Register for the course and, just get the skills that you need to navigate this rapidly changing world. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping rules that I'm going to read out for you, just so we can all be in the same page and not interrupt each other, so that you guys can get the best out of the session. And number 1, for those who are watching us from Zoom, all of you will be muted throughout the session, just so you don't interrupt. And then today's session will be being broadcasted on Absa Facebook and YouTube page. You're welcome to revisit that content and share with your friends and your colleagues. Last but not least, please keep your comments coming in the chat section and use the hashtag #ReadyToWork. And then last but not least, keep your questions coming. There'll be a poll at the end of the Zoom session, and we urge you to participate in it. For our first timers, in campus we call them freshers. We always play a game before we begin the session, but today we are not going to play that game. We are going to do something even much better. I'm going to ask you a question. If you're watching us from Facebook, from YouTube, or from Zoom, I'm going to ask a question, and then if you're among the first 5 to give me the correct answer, we are going to give you some cool merchandise, some t-shirts, some Bluetooth speakers, some earphones, all that cool merchandise. And yeah, just tell us your nearest branch and we'll deliver it to you. So the question is, how many modules are there in Ready to Work, and where can you take the Ready to Work course? Keep your questions coming. Keep your answers coming, and I'll announce the winner at the end of the session. Now, please allow me to introduce the panelist of the day, and I'm going to start with Dr. Bright. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
How are you?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm good.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read a bit from your profile.
Okay.
And then, of course, you can tell us a little bit more what's not in the profile.
Sure.
Yeah. So Dr. Bright Gameli is the head managed cybersecurity services at Dimension East Africa and founder of the cybersecurity collective Africa Hackon, the first ever live demonstration cybersecurity conference in East and Central Africa. He acquired a PhD in convergence and application engineering with concentration on information in South Korea. Wow. He has 10 years of professional experience in the cybersecurity industry with strong expertise in cybersecurity strategy, building resilience, and system penetration testing. There's so much that I could say about this guy, but how about we give him a chance to just say hello to you and tell you something that is not in his LinkedIn page or in his profile.
If I really want to go to details about what is on my LinkedIn page, I think it would be quite embarrassing.
No, embarrass yourself.
Do you know okay, first of all, I have done about 138 public cybersecurity speaking engagements, and I have never tasted fries in my life.
What?
Yeah, French fries. Yes, I have never tasted French fries.
Okay, we'll get to some today.
I do eat chicken at least 5 out of 7 times a week.
Wow. Which is what?
Which is almost every day.
Even more than every day.
So you see, my wife has a very easy job. Okay,
Yeah.
easy, quote unquote, because it's not easy. She has to keep on making different types of chicken. Yeah. So
Okay.
yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
I also something that people don't find out about me. I also practice martial arts. So I used to teach kung fu. I still try to practice kung fu, and that is the other the other security part of me. You know, so yes, I'm in the cybersecurity
It's funny.
space, but I think I'm also in the physical security space,
Yeah.
where I practice kung fu.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think something that I didn't know about you until I went to your Instagram page is how goofy you are. You know, when we think of cyber geeks, we think of these guys with all these big specs
Yeah.
and being all, you know, all serious and boring, but you're pretty goofy and
People
you like
think
fun
I'm
stuff.
a meme lord. This is someone who actually one day said, I posted I did a poster. So I posted it up, and it's written Dr. Bright. It's like, wait, you're actually a serious person. Like, you have a PhD. I was like, well, yeah. They're like, we thought you were a meme lord. And I was speaking at Strathmore University some time back, and majority of them came to my Instagram. They're like, your profile doesn't look like a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, you don't look like you're in cybersecurity. You look like somebody who is just a comedian. And I'm like, no, I just like posting funny things. But yeah, so unless you get to find out details about me like that, you never know. And I also
Yeah.
write a lot. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Do you think that's because you have too much of a serious side you need to let off the steam with the memes and the fun side?
No, it's just how I am. And in
Yeah.
a natural situation, I talk a lot. When we go to any kind of gathering, I'm the one making the most noise. I'm the one I'm always a goofy one.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's that side of me that people get to see. But I want to just let people also know that it's very easy to have a conversation with me. Some people send me DMs and I reply, and they're like, you actually replied. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not a big deal.
I'm human.
But to them, they're like, it's Dr. Bright, you replied. And it's just how I am.
Yeah.
So there is that less of a serious person. And when I get out there, there is that side of me. And when I get to my serious element, I am very serious with my work as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's finding the balance and just
There is a
maintaining
balance
it.
that I had to keep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you're the one who, like, you know, you're the goofy one, you're the one who takes the room. And I think today you have competition.
No, I don't think I can. If I want to compete with Amina, no, she is. You know, there are people who are on. There's a highway,
Yeah.
and then there is highway. You know, those people
And
who
bypass.
just their bypasses. Amina is another level. She's the league of her own. She has her own building. She has her own airport.
My own airport.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay, so like you've had, and as we were waiting to go live, Amina was just having a conversation with Bright, and she said she has 4 awards, and her son, no, 8 awards, right? And then your son has 3, and I'm like, wow, can I be in your family already?
Your son has
So
already started.
So Amina is an award-winning media personality. She's an entertainment queen, one of the largest influencers, I dare to say, in Africa. She She has a span of national leaderships on radio. She has national viewership on TV and a prolific and ever-growing Amina on social media. She has hosted local and international brands, corporates, and NGOs to deliver brand reach, negotiations, and mandates. And I don't know if this is something she wants to talk about, but again, as you're having that conversation with Dr. Bright, I heard you say how your main hustle is actually not your main hustle. And
Yes.
it has just, your main hustle has just given you a platform to,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
yeah.
Lucy, you were eavesdropping.
I
You
was.
were eavesdropping because that was supposed to be a private conversation. But yes, I am extremely honored to be here. I was talking to Christine, who was the one who called me to come for this session.
Yeah.
And I remember telling her, Christine, me, I have something to tell people to inspire them. Are you sure? Are you confusing me with somebody else? I was like, you're looking for the CS. Amina Mohammed, I get it. It's okay. But it's extremely humbling. I mean, when you come from where I've come from, it's very surprising and shocking when people say that they look up to you or they, sorry. Acha nijitengeneze kidogo. Anyway, but it's extremely humbling when people tell you that they like what you do or they look up to you and they want to be like you. It's a very surprising feeling, right, Dr. Bright, when you have people sliding into your
Very, very
DM
surprising.
and they're telling you that you're the reason why they've decided to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're like,
That
whoa,
always shocks me.
right?
It's always shocking. They're like, oh, you know what? I want to be like you when I grow up.
And you're
Yeah.
like, me? I'm still trying to figure out who I am and what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So, yes, Lucy, I am very happy. I think I'll use this term the entire session, but I was very humbled to not only win 1, 2, 3, but very many of them.
Yeah.
And the 8 are the ones that I have in my house, but then there are a number that I couldn't get because maybe they were far,
Yeah.
and the nominations, which is also a really, really big deal.
It
It's
is,
just
yeah.
all of them telling you that you're on the right track, you're on the right path, and you're doing the right thing to get to where you want to get to. I think that's what those awards are for. It's more for recognition. That's why even the nomination is very important. If you're an Oscar-nominated actor, if you're a Grammy-nominated artist, they
Yeah.
always write that before your title or as you're coming on stage because it's a big deal to get nominated.
It is. Not
Yeah.
everybody gets nominated.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Last but not least, of course, we have our HR director, Mombi Kahindo. And now Mombi has been practicing HR for the past 20 years, half of which she has been in leadership positions. Now you know what that means. She previously worked with Deloitte for 10 years in various disciplines of human capital based in Kenya and in New York. More recently, and over the last 8 years, Mombi has held various HR leadership roles in Absa Group, our Absa Group, initially with Absa Kenya as a senior HR business partner and head of leadership. Learning and talent, and most recently as the head of leadership and learning for Absa regional operations, covering 10 markets outside South Africa. So if you guys are just trying to navigate the world of employment and to know what to do, how to please the HR, how to nail that interview, you have the perfect person. And please keep those questions coming because she's going to answer all of them. And I'm just going to let Mombi say hello to you and say a little bit about herself. Hi, Mombi.
Hi, thank you, Lucy, and good morning, everyone. And it's such a wonderful opportunity for me to engage. I was listening to Amina, and I was saying it's amazing that we don't recognize the power of recognition. When you ask you to nominate people or to go in and like, it just goes to build someone's confidence. And I'm hoping that as we grow as a society, we learn just the power of recognition in people getting to where they want to be. But that's just the conversation. So looking at myself, and I have been in, how many years? As you say, many years. I entered this profession by mistake. So I was never supposed to be in HR. And as many people will tell you, their careers most probably they just bumped into them. They were not dreaming of whatever it is that they ended up doing. So for me, the story is the same, and I look at my background, and I look where I was and where I am today, and I tell people anything is possible. If you are a dreamer, continue dreaming because anything is possible. I do do a lot of leadership development. I'm excited to have this conversation in terms of how to develop yourself, because that's my passion.
Yeah.
I say my purpose in life is actually to support those who to arrive where they want to go. I just play a very small part, which is encouraging you, probably directing you to where it is that you can get the right skills and coaching you through it. So I find that there is so much joy watching people become better and greater and able to achieve whatever their aims are. So excited, Lucy, to be here
Yeah.
with the panel, and I'm looking forward to further engagement discussion.
You know, as you are talking and I'm thinking 20 years is a long time, and we don't even need to watch YouTube. We don't need to listen to podcasts. We just need to have you in the room for you to pass your knowledge to us, and I think we'll be set for life.
Yes.
Because 20 years is a long time, and you must have all the experience. You must have seen all the drama, all that the changing world has come to be, and you know, I think that's why we have you here, to not only give us the insight that you've gotten over your 20 years, but how you see the environment changing in the future. Now, my first question goes to all of you, and I'll start with you.
So before you go to the question,
Yes.
Lucy, I just want to maybe bust that myth that just because somebody has got a lot of experience, a years of experience, doesn't mean have a lot of knowledge. It's not always true.
No?
So you always have to be very careful and recognize that there are people who are much younger and who've had great experiences and we all can learn from each other despite our number of years of experience.
Okay. Maybe that's a thought-provoking conversation which we might pick as we go on, but I like to hear that. The first question is your understanding of future skills, which is the reason why we are here in the first place.
Hey, my understanding of future skills, that's a very broad question, though.
Yeah.
It's basically things that we have to anticipate. That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Because what I know right now is going to change in the next few hours, in the next few days. And because there's new things that are being developed, there's new technology coming in, there's new ways of being able to do something. And we need to keep on adapting. So adaptation to environments, things that are changing is what future skills have to be. When I was young, the kind of things that I was trying to do at the age of 10 or 15, it's not the same thing that I see kids doing these days.
No.
Some of the kids that I mentor who are actually about 11 years old, they started doing programming in advanced languages at 11.
Wow.
So now look at me. I used to do the same thing, but in a lesser language, or less, how do you call it? In a less kind of recognizable kind of programming languages. So we have to start have that adaptation to changes, and it's what I see future skills to be. I used to be a very technical person, but right now, trust me, if you ask me, I had to learn how to do sales. I had to learn how to do marketing. I had to learn how to do all of those are skills that I never thought I ever needed.
Yeah.
And I thought, one of my former bosses told me, Bright, you will never be a technical person forever. And I thought that was a lie. But right now, I have to learn how to do strategy. I have to learn how to talk to excos, public speaking. All of those have shaped me to become who I am right now.
Yeah.
So future skills is about adapting to new changes, new environment, new technology, new everything.
Yeah, so it's no longer about a technical skill.
No.
It's about getting all the skills that
Yes.
you possibly can.
That's true.
Because, you know, even if it's work environment, even if it's self-employment, there are so many aspects of that business. Public speaking, there is marketing, there's sales, there's the technical aspect. You need
finance.
You need finance, accounting.
I started a business some time back, and I didn't know the process of registration. I didn't know what directorship means. I didn't know what shares mean. I lost the business. Somebody stole money from me, more than 1.5 million Kenya shillings, because I don't understand the system.
Yeah.
You know, so all of those things I had to go back and reevaluate myself. Like, can I read? Can I watch YouTube videos? Can I use any available resources to understand exactly what I'm getting myself into?
Yeah.
And after I do that, I was like, you're not going to cheat me on this one. You know, I was talking to Amina earlier on, and she was giving me details about branding. You know, he's like, Bright, you can't be the one to dress yourself.
You can't.
You can't be the one to actually choose your fashion.
You can't.
And before, I'm like, I do that with my wife. She's the only one who I can look at. She's like, nah, you're not going with that. And I had to understand that because there's had to be a team to manage you. All of those kind of things, I just learned that right now. Yeah. And I have to adapt to that. I have to make those changes in the near future that what I thought branding is not what it is right now. And an
Yeah.
expert has just told me,
An
you need.
am I the expert?
I mean, do you see? And I have to just change
Yeah.
those and know that. Like I showed a picture of what I wanted to wear for a particular event. She's like, "Bright,
Nah.
that is
That
2019."
is
No.
2019.
You know, so yeah. I mean, we have to adapt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amina, future
No,
skills?
completely. That's 1,000%. I'm just agreeing with Bright. You have to do your research. You know, markets are changing. You know, things are just evolving every single day, and especially with technology now, things are rapidly changing every single
Day.
day. You know, the jobs, if you're looking for money, the jobs that are making money are different, they're changing. And, you know, you just need to acquire a new skill set. I was trying to talk to Bright to tell him, you know, when it comes to building a brand, there's so many different sectors of gosh, there's so many moving pieces you have to put together. For me as a female, I have a makeup artist, someone who does my hair, someone who does my, like for example, if I'm coming to a function where I need to wear hijab, usually not today, but usually I have someone who'd come do the hijab like this, because I am in media, and if I'm in media, that means that I'm focusing, sorry, specifically on journalism.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm looking at the biggest stories. What are people talking about right now? You know, what are my sources telling me? Are we talking about SGBV, sexual gender-based violence? Are we talking about rape? Are we talking about education? Are we talking about religion? Like, what is happening this week that we need to focus on? So I can't be the same person who focuses on all of that, does their research, finds guests, and also is the same person who's like, oh, this is the newest hairstyle in town, or this is the newest earring to wear. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So you have to have a team around you. You have to have people around you. That comes with time, of course, because it's an expense that you need to take care of. So you have to know where that money is coming from. But as Dr. Bright said, there is just, you know, you need to really acquire a whole lot of skills so that you can survive in whatever market.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've heard this time and time again. For you to become a millionaire, for you to become a billionaire, you have to have a number of streams of income,
Incomes,
right?
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
just have one.
One.
So you can't just rely on your 9 to 5, your 8 to 5. Things change. So you have to now. Social media is a really big
Different.
platform
It
to
is.
make money from.
Yeah.
And I think that people really underestimate it and don't really understand how to make money online. You don't have to have a number of followers to
Yeah.
have that impact, for you to have, you know, to
Make money.
to sort of like have that influence over people and make money, as you're saying, Lucy. You know, you just have to have the will, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to have the discipline to put in the work, because there is no quick money scheme. This isn't some pyramid scheme. Life is not like that. You have to
Yeah.
really work hard.
Okay.
And, you know, for you to make your money. So you have to do your research. You have to understand where the market is going. You have to accept that this is where things are going and headed. You know, a lot of people in my industry, you know, they fought social media. If you remember, the analog to digital migration was
Yeah.
a really big
Tough
deal
one.
to a lot of media companies, because they were not understanding how some Twitter person, some YouTuber, some person on Instagram, some influencer on I don't know what platform is going to generate money and have sales on that page and have their clients on that page.
Page.
But that's where things were moving.
Yeah.
So instead of fighting it, they should have joined it. You know, and one thing I'm into right now so much is TikTok. And when it started, I think TikTok, a lot of us thought it was some dancing social media
Music,
platform.
dancing,
It
yeah.
was not. There's so many different things that you can learn from that platform. There's so many different ways you can sell yourself on that platform. And I've really got to learn a lot. So as the times are changing, as things are moving, like Dr. Breiter said,
Yeah.
you have to move with the times. If you don't, unfortunately, you will be left behind. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're
That's
doing,
true.
how interesting you are, how hot you are right now, how funny
Yeah.
you are right now. Things are changing, things are moving. If you do not want to evolve,
Yeah.
you'll be left behind.
Awesome. And I think that speaks to my very quick story of the rooster and the sparrow. If you have golden feathers, it's fine. You do them, but you need to keep evolving and you need to keep learning how to
Yep.
fly for you to, survive in the world. And I like that you say that you have to adapt, because TikTok today, like 20 years ago, there was no TikTok, but it came along and now people are making a living out of it. It's just adapting and accepting that some things are not always going to be the same, and that's okay. You just have to find a way to adapt. Now, Mombi, I'm very interested to hear your views on future skills, and maybe you can mention a few that you think are just like key future skills that anybody has to have.
Thank you, Lucy. I think for me, from I listened to Dr. Bright and I listened to Amina and their context of what it is that they do and how they've evolved. And I think that's the word about future skills. Future skills is how are we evolving to respond to a world that is changing. In fact, someone described the world that is changing as a thunderstorm that we are never prepared for. And I think that's what we need to think about skills and future skills. They are skills that we are supposed to have and we don't have time to prepare for. So we have to quickly identify the shifts that we are seeing and quickly be able to through different platforms. So it's not a classroom learning. You have had Amina talk and Dr. Bright talk about going to YouTube to teach yourself a skill. And I think that's what we need to learn. What is the platform that quickly presents me with the learning that I need? So future skills from, let's say, corporate world, the way we see it from the corporate world and we see it in the world of employment, are skills that are emerging out of the fourth industrial revolution, which is the world of technology and digital and the blurring of those boundaries in our human life. So we are finding a lot of technology and digital that is so merged with what we do every day. And that's the fourth industrial revolution that started a couple of years and it's envisaged to continue for a number of years. So that world, and when we think about those future skills, are skills that are more about what I like what Dr. Bright said. How do I sell myself? How do I sell what it is that I have? How do I negotiate so that I get the best deal? So you hear skills that are around artificial intelligence, we have skills around coding, we have skills around negotiation, we have some skills that we are now training our leaders specifically, and this is because of how we see the world changing, of storytelling. So if you don't know how to put together a story, if you don't know how to package your information so that there's a thread on it, then it's very difficult for people to stay connected with you. I think I'm always admiring the people in the media because of how quickly they're able to put together their stories. But I think it's true for all of us. Myself as a leader, if I'm not able to take my team through a strategy session or how we are going to achieve our strategy and be able to connect the different pieces of that in a storyline, then I don't get the engagement or they don't get the clarity that they need so that they can actually do what they need to do. So I think the future skills for me is something that we're going to hear many times over because the world that we are in is transforming very quickly.
Thank you for that, Mombi. And you know, guys, if you have any questions, please keep them coming. We're going to take them as we go, and we'll have you guys answer them. Mr. Bright,
And we cannot hear you, Lucy.
can you hear me now? Hello?
No.
Guys, we're going to be back shortly. Just 5 seconds. It's on it.
And we cannot hear you,
Just
Lucy.
remember to turn it on. Mombi?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're back.
Welcome, guys. And we had just left off from Mombi, and now we are just going to ask Dr. Bright a question that I was thinking over the weekend.
Okay.
As I was preparing for this session, actually, I was nervous, and I was on my laptop typing questions and trying to like research on future skills and cybersecurity. I'm like, now I know why people put cell tapes and all those little markers on their, webcam.
Yeah.
Because it always feels like somebody's watching you, or these experts are going to, hack your machine from nowhere. And I just wanted to ask you, do you get that a lot? Like, you're in the compound, you're in the midst of people, and they're worrying about their phones or their laptops or their systems because,
People always asking that question. They're like, "Oh, Bright, are you gonna hack us?" Actually, when we came here, I could tell how many phones are Samsungs in this room because of the watch that I'm wearing. This watch looks very normal to you, but it's not your everyday watch. I could scan all the Wi-Fi networks around. I can shut it down. If there's any Internet of Things or IoT devices around, like smart switch or smart light, I can actually put them off with this. Yep.
I'm more nervous than I was.
Yeah, so I can technically do a lot, and the phones that I usually work with, I could. So part of my PhD research actually was with the friends. We had about 36,000 Wi-Fi passwords. So I have Wi-Fi almost everywhere I go, and there's a lot you can do. It's easy. I can in 5 seconds send an email from you to her, and it will come as real. It will have even have your picture.
That
So
is very
that is
Yeah, it is.
to have your Gmail picture. That whole picture there. And she will almost not be able to tell the difference between the real one and the fake one. And if you reply, she will actually get the message. Anyway, you're not going to do that right now. But so people are always asking me, yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But I say, no, maybe, it's unethical as well. So I only do it if there's a need for me to actually show you exactly how it's possible and how do you secure yourself.
Yeah.
But otherwise, just to do things out of malice, I don't do that. I do things as an experiment, but I do what they call a responsible disclosure.
Yeah.
There's one ISP in Kenya, one of my friend and I, it's actually one of my mentees. We actually be able to compromise the ISP, internet service provider, and we change our billing. So at the end of the month, we didn't get a bill. And our speed was the highest. So we actually responsibly told the company, I'm not going to mention which one, that do you know anybody can change any billing anywhere and can change the speed and you will never charge me because I don't owe you?
Yeah, but then how do you balance that between, I know you said it's ethical, you just have to remain ethical, but
Yes.
even as you're teaching, and this is like a major future skill, cybersecurity, computer engineering, even as young people are learning these skills, how do you make sure that they know the ethical side and you just don't do things just because you can?
You will be caught someday. If you don't know something about me, which I didn't say earlier on, but let me just reveal it now. February 10, 2010, I was arrested by Interpol right here in Kenya, right here
Okay,
down
not here in Absa.
Not here. But I was arrested because I was part of a movement which was trying to get hacking of people out there. So they thought I was part of Anonymous Hackers. At the time, Anonymous was a group, not a movement right now. And they came for me because we hacked about a few credit card numbers and intercepted traffic. We were at a cyber cafe. Back then, cyber cafe was the thing. And we got people's account details, PayPal accounts, and we ordered stuff online, and they came for us.
Yeah.
Because they thought we were part of it. So you will be caught someday. It will catch up with you, and I don't think there's a way. I believe in karma.
Yeah.
It will hit back hard to you in case you ever think you're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
So I rather try, what I do a lot of right now is mentor kids to be able to come up and become cybersecurity engineers. That if you know how to do the offensive security, you learn how to do the defensive by being able to provide that as a skill to organizations. We have a very big shortage of cybersecurity engineers right now in the world.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So you have to learn offense and defense at the same
Yes,
time.
Yeah.
you have to learn how to jump the fence to be able to know how high the wall is supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay. But I think it's also about any skill, actually, because there are some skills, yes, they don't have that much of a danger, but
Yeah.
there are skills like, and maybe, Amina, you can speak to it, you know, people's skills, just being friendly, being nice, and just being jovial around people. It's a people skill, but it could come to haunt you back in the future because not everybody wants the best for you, and people will be out there thinking, I know I don't like her energy, so maybe don't need her in this company. So I think there's a danger to every skill, and even as you're speaking about future skills, there are skills that will always come with a danger or with a bad side to them. So how do you manage those bad sides even as you develop?
As you answer the question, no, I want to ask a question so that you so there's a 2-in-1.
Ask me, huh?
Amina on TV,
Yeah.
Amina at events,
At home.
at home.
Yeah.
It's the same Amina right here.
That's a
Or-
very
yeah.
interesting question, Dr. Bright. I don't even do interviews enough to say that I've never answered a question like that, but I've never answered a question like that. But yes, we are very many different people. I have like so many other alter egos. I am very many people in one. You know, I usually am very covered in my everyday life, which is so interesting because on TV and when you see me in the media, I am, you know, I dress in like short dress. Like I just love looking sexy. Okay, that's just who I am. But it's just very different. You're right. So then there are very many different Aminas. When I go to a corporate event, I'm a different Amina. It's like you're acting, you know, so you take up different roles, right? If you were Jennifer Aniston, you take up different roles depending on the kind of movie that you're playing, right? So if I go to a corporate event, if I go to a fashion event, if I go to some mentoring event, you know, I'm just all types of different people, which is so interesting that Dr. Bright mentioned that. And with all of that brings different skills. It's very important for you. I was seeing this the other day online where someone was saying, I'm so upset, someone very extroverted, very confident, and this and that just got promoted, but they don't have the relevant skills that are required for that position. And I need a lot of people to understand that confidence and you just really believing in yourself really opens doors. It is insane what your confidence can do, but once you can just walk in somewhere and enunciate words properly and just really be very audible and confident, the things that it can get for you, insane. Is there a bad side? Yes, there is. To so many different things, there's always a bad side. Too much of anything is, you know, is terrible. It's not good for you. But then it's needed. So yes, you do need to know the people you need to know at the company. If at Absa you know only the executive, you know, people, it puts you in a great position when they're trying to let go of people. They'll be like, no, we need Lucy. Keep her right now. It's very important for you to know how to play that game because life in general is a game. It's like chess. The whole of, right, Dr. Bright? Like
That's
your
very true.
entire life is like chess. So how do you play that game is very important. Who do you talk to? Who do you invest your time most with? How do you present yourself to so and so because you think that it's going to put you in a certain position? It's just how life is. It's very, very important. You know, the company expects certain things of you and you give more of what they even wanted. That means that you're going to put yourself in a position to get promoted, to get more money, to have more leverage when you're meeting Mumbi, okay, during appraisal, so that you can tell her, Mumbi, how are you? How are the kids? How is people skills is so important. And I'm so happy when you are mentioning, when you're talking about ready to work, you talked about the 4 things, right?
Modules, yes.
It was the 4 modules: people skills, money skills, entrepreneurial skills, all of them, very important. People skills, we have so many bosses who do not know how to handle people. When you come into my industry, media industry unfortunately has so many egos because people come in and then they think they're Beyonce. They think now they're Rihanna. They're the Jay-Z's of the world. They have nothing, but ego comes into play. And so how do you make sure that you guarantee your longevity within that organization? It's because of how you relate to Mombi, how you talk to your immediate supervisor, how you are important and efficient to your bosses. It's all a game. How are you going to manage all of these different people so that even if, you know, there's sometimes you wonder, how is this person who is not as good at their job, how do they last in this business for 5 to 10 years? What are they doing? It's because they understand how to manage people. It's a skill you have to acquire. It's a talent. You will find it, trust me.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very important one.
skill.
So for the bad side, you will just learn to
I was about to ask
try
that.
and
Like, do you think people abuse that sometimes?
they do. They really, really do. And I think, especially like for me, there's your character that comes into play, your personality that comes into play. So I am a people pleaser. I say yes a lot. And that was very detrimental to my brand because you can't say yes to all brands.
Yeah.
And when I started, I used to have this vision where I'd only work with international brands. Hi, Absa. From Isiolo to the world. And now we are Africanacity.
Yeah.
So I am continental. Address me as such. But yeah, when you work with such brands, it puts you at a certain level.
Yeah.
Again, you have to know how to work with people, how to address people, how to maneuver different rooms. How do you become relevant in Kenya and then also equally as entertaining in Ghana, and people in Nigeria find you funny, and you have a fan base in South Africa? Those are things that you have to really research on and have to take time so that you can build those connections with people, because it's not buildings that make the companies. You don't understand, it's the people.
Yeah.
Like even for me to get this job today, there were different people who have to have.
Yeah.
There you go. Who were the ones who were like, yo, I think this Amina chick by there kwangi kabaya. Ebu tumpige kasimu. I think aneza hii job. It's
Yeah.
because the people are the ones that you made a connection with, which is so important.
Correct.
So yeah.
Okay, thanks for that answer. Mombi, I have another one for you. And like, like in the future or in the days that we are moving, there's a lot of technology, there's a lot of machines taking our jobs. And my first question to you is, how do you make sure that your job still safe or you still remain relevant even in the changing world where, like Kina Alexa are taking our jobs?
So I think, thank you, Lucy, and I think Amina should just get my job in the sense of just understanding of how to build leaders. And I define leaders. Sometimes people think when you say leaders, you're talking about positional power, or you're talking about people who hold certain titles. I consider everyone a leader when you have been given a responsibility, because that's what leadership is. Leadership is accountability. Leadership is bringing people with you in whatever it is that you're doing. The answer to your question is one that is asked every time, that all the robotics and automations in the corporate world, are they not going to make people redundant? What will happen to humans? That's the question. What will happen to humans? But listen to what Amina has just spoken to, and I make reference to that. What Amina has spoken to is what we consider as the human part of jobs that will never be taken over by robotics. Or let me not say never, because in this world, you find that word is not one we need to use. But it's going to take a long time, very long time, for you to make a robot human. So there are certain things that will never be. A robot may never have a soul. So the connection that happens with human beings, you'll be very surprised. One of the skills we are teaching people who lead teams, because they are managing teams, is how do you collaborate? How do you build a network that supports you to deliver your objectives? So certain skills that we are not taught in school. The unfortunate thing is that our education system is training people on this, what we call soft skills, which in many cases now are becoming the hardwire of the organization. So they are no longer the soft part. They are actually the parts of skills that we really require for an organization to become successful. So think about how we collaborate. Think about how you network. Think about skills on what we call empathy. Empathy is an emotion. Empathy is a skill that is not cannot be robotized. It's not. We cannot automate empathy. So how do I lead a team from a place of empathy? Understanding what it is that they're going through. So imagine the environment we are in COVID. As a people manager, as a leader, how am I connecting with people empathetically so that I can appreciate what are the issues they're having to deal with, and I am able then to direct and to lead them and to work with them. So yes, there is a lot of automation, but if you go to the World Economic Forum website, and I hope that anyone and everyone on this call, every young person logs onto the World Economic Forum to look at the jobs of the future and to look at the skills of the future. Because we are now hiring people not because you went to school for a technical skill. So everybody needs a technical skill, whether it is nursing or farming or it's finance. Those are technical skills that you can get in the school. But we want to hire for a set of skills. So yes, you have the technical skills, but what are the other skills that you have? So we want to understand, when you were in campus, what are some of the projects that you did, and did you collaborate? How well did you collaborate? How successful were you? What is it that you're doing to improve your learning? So we are always telling people learning is a muscle, and learning is continuous. So there isn't a time that you have to stop learning. I'm learning today, for example, on personal branding. How do I brand myself as a professional? How do I brand myself as a leader in the organization and within the industry? So there are many jobs that, yes, are diminishing. We will find that if you go to America today, lawyers, the law fraternity, now you can just put in your issues on an app, and there will be legal advice provided to you that probably you would have paid thousands of dollars for in the previous years. It doesn't happen anymore, that unless you're going for complex legal structures or issues. But for the basic ones, now we are seeing that that's done online. So it's the same thing for you to think about, what are the complex things that then I can contribute to, and that requires learning.
Yeah.
So if you're coming from campus today, you have to ask yourself, I have received technical training. What are the other elements of it? And those will include data analysis. Am I very good, regardless of what my profession is? Am I very good in looking at data and analyzing it and then giving a story out of it? So there are many skills that are out there that are not going to be automated, and they will require human intervention, because we know to date that the brain is still the most complex computer. So no one has figured out the brain, and it will continue to be so. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you so much for that answer. And as you were speaking, I was just looking at the questions that are coming in, and you've answered almost like 80% of the questions. Like there was a question from a guy called Horan, and this maybe I'll pose it to you, Dr. Pride, but there was a question from Moses, and he had asked from Richard Charo. He was asking, with the advancement in technology and artificial intelligence, should we be more scared of the future due to the fact that AI is finding ways to outdo human intelligence? And I think Mobi, you've answered that question perfectly. And then there was a question from also Amos. He was also asking how to package themselves in the consistently changing our world of technology, and many other questions that I think you've answered to. But there's a question here that I find interesting, and it was from who? Yes, from Moses. And he probably read my mind, because I had the same question for you, Dr. Bright. And he's asking, how can one brand themselves to the current world, and what are the skills that I should equip myself with in the rapidly changing world? And the reason why I'm saying it goes hand in hand with my question is, you got your PhD you started studying for your PhD at 26 years old.
Yes.
Got it at 28 years old.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable. Actually, when I posted this poster on my status, people asking, oh, you have Dr. Bright. Do you know he got his PhD when he was 28 years old? And I'm like, yeah, impressive. I'm going to ask him how he did that. But as I was watching an interview you did, you said that in South Korea, everybody, like 80% of the people walking around have PhDs, and it's not like a big deal. And in Kenya, that's like a big deal. We are almost wired to first study our, campus, do your master's, and then your PhD, and then work, and then probably get your PhD after. And my question is, do you think they should first study and then do PhD, or do PhD and then work? And then that will also answer his question of how rapidly, because you could be studying something in campus, and then by the time you're out, it's already not relevant anymore.
Very good question. So, little background story. When I started the master's, I was 24.
Yeah. Oh.
I did the master's, and in South Korea, I'd never thought of going to a country like South Korea. I mean, I had never thought about it. So when I got a scholarship, actually, I applied for it and I got it. I was surprised. Getting there, South Koreans are different with the way they study. They do a lot of collaborations a lot. They don't like to do things in silos. So they're always sharing information, and I learned that, and I had to adapt to how they study. So I was supposed to do 24 credits. I ended up doing 40 credits because I was just going for every class. I hear things like artificial intelligence, I'm there. I hear things, neural networks, I want to go for that class. And because I had so much time, in a week that I can do that. Advantage of being in Kenya. Because when you're university, how many courses were you doing in a semester? You're doing 18 hours. You're doing 16 hours. So now I'm doing less than 10, about 10 hours a week. I'm like, no, I can adapt to that also. So I used that advantage of studying in Kenya to apply to an environment that they were not used to. So I did all of that, and I did about 40 credit, 42 actually. So the PhD, I came back to Kenya. The day I finished that master's, I took a flight and came back home. My dad was like, what are you doing here? Go back. So I had to call everybody that I sold everything to in my
Tell them to bring it back.
I'm like, please just bring it back. I'll pay you the money. So yeah, that same day I had to call.
You were going back to do what? To study some more?
He said, you're going back to do your PhD. He's like, you're not, no one is stopping at this. A rule in our house is no one is stopping at a degree. So everybody has a master's. And he said, you have to do a PhD. So I had to go back. So I called people, told them, leave everything that I actually gave to you. Don't use them. You bring them back, I'll pay you back. So I started sending money to everybody online. And I went back to Korea after a month and a half. Getting there, I applied for the PhD program and I got it. Instead of 36 credits, they reduced back to 30. And normally, you're supposed to do only a maximum of 6 credits, which is 2 classes a week. Because each of those classes, you have to write a paper, you have to publish the paper, you have to present that paper. Yeah. I ended up doing 10 every semester. And I started my research at the beginning of everything. And I look at the things that, and this speaks to future skills that we look, awareness of cybersecurity is going to be the next big thing. It will never die because people don't know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. So I said, what I want to do is to keep speaking about awareness, and almost all my papers are to do with that. Being technical and non-technical, I kept on talking about awareness. And somehow, that's how I got a lot of jobs to be done. So when I was doing my PhD, it wasn't just studying for the PhD. I was still working online. I was doing security assessment for organizations. I was speaking at conferences, which was giving me a little bit of money. Oh, and I did a lot of odd jobs. I was a party organizer. I used to street battle, dancing. Yes, I battle on the streets. Wow. I used to beatbox on the streets.
You used to be the one dancing?
I was.
Oh, right. We want to see that.
I have it here. I'll show you. I'll show you that video. So I was the person. I used to race eels. I raced frogs for money. I raced crabs on tables for money. Yes, it's because people will bet on anything.
What do you mean you raced frogs? Did you have like frogs that you kept like
I bought them.
pets and you just
I bought frogs to race because the thing is,
what?
at the time when people are a little bit drunk, they will bet on anything.
And so you were just out here with crabs
and
frogs.
I was like crabs and frogs. Look, I made really good money out of that. And from there, I go to clubs. So I usually be a hype man. And I was an MC at clubs because I dance a lot. I'm a dancer. I break dance and I had a dance crew. Yeah. So that was all the things that I had to adapt to. But trust me, I'll be in the club. And if I think of something, I write a paper, like 2 or 3 lines.
You find inspiration in everything.
I'm thinking about, because my brain is always working, because I don't sleep much early, so I always write something. So I was working, different time zones, different kind of things that I have to do, and I did 10, that's 30 credits in the 1.5 years, and I completed my PhD. I used another semester to write the entire paper, but I started a long time ago because I knew that was going to happen. So, and then, Korea is crazy in the sense of how you actually do. For you to finish masters, you have to repeat 3 exams you've done before in one sitting. Yeah. And then before you can graduate, you can't fail. For PhD, you needed to do 5 exams. You've done it before. You just don't have the paper. You have to repeat 5 exams all at one go in one room, one sitting for like 4 hours before you can actually finish. Yeah. And so that adaptation to how things work in a country like that is just hard to. People study. If you go to an exam and a Korean stays for more than 10 minutes, meaning he knows he's not going to fail. But in 10 minutes, if he walks away, that means it's like, you know what?
And he has no time to waste.
I'm done. So I'll do the paper in the next semester. And there's a town that actually it's a town, I forgot the name of the town. 65% of people above 24 have a PhD.
Wow.
Why? Because that is how they've been groomed. That has been instilled in them for a very long time. Yeah. Having to stay relevant in that field, I had to constantly read. Every single week, I tell you, I have to read a new code. I don't have to understand. I have to read a new code. I have to try a new tool. I have to see exactly how does it work. Yeah. Because by the next week, a new one has come out. A new way of doing that has come out, and have to do that. Even trying to do the whole speaking, like I told you before, I used to be a stammerer. Yeah. me speaking in front of you people right now is my mother gets
Practice.
shocked
Yeah.
every time he sees me. She's got like, I used to be a heavy stammerer, but I had to learn, and I had to watch speech therapy videos to learn how to be able to express myself, how to stand in front of people, how to stand in front of 1,000 people and speak.
Yeah.
And as I sit with public speaking events, I've done 137 as of today.
Wow. This
And
is the 7th or the
138.
8th.
38,
Okay,
138. And that had to become a thing which I had to learn. And that really helped me in networking. As Mumbi was saying, you need to know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
One of the things my dad told me some time back is like, can you learn how to describe what you do in less than 20 seconds? So everywhere I go, you ask me, what do you do, Bright? I can tell you everything I do in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way I can get your attention. So you're either going to pay attention to me from there or throughout the
not.
night.
That is
or
interesting. That's very important. You know, it's called a 5-minute elevator pitch when people tell you that you can meet the CEO or MD
Yeah.
that you've been thinking about. So if you meet Jeremy, right, from Absa, and you have 5 minutes, what
It's a
do you
lot,
tell
baby.
him,
5
right?
minutes is a
What do you
lot.
say?
Yeah.
And people get so confused, especially when you go to interviews, and Mumbi will tell you this, when people come for interviews and she's like, oh, tell me about yourself. And someone's like, I like farming.
Put your hand in
I
water.
usually, because you don't know, you have not prepared for it. And I think what Bright has said, two very interesting things that you can pick up. And I was really inspired right now is when you said that you used to be a stammerer. I can't tell right now at
Yeah.
all. And if you're watching right now and you're disadvantaged in any way, whether it's physically, whether you have whatever issues that you have, and you think, man, I can't be the person who makes it. I used to be the one who was told I can never go for interviews because I had really big teeth. And this lady told me, you can never do public speaking. And not only public speaking, I went on to do TV and I went on to do radio and so many events. You'll have so many people who tell you can't do it because of 1, 2, 3, 4. If you if you are hard enough and you see yourself in that field, you can definitely do it. I think that's so freaking impressive.
I
And
think
you said
it's-
that you
yeah.
learned so much.
It's all in
Yeah.
the mind of things. I do a lot of mentorship for kids.
Yeah.
When I say kids, I'm talking about, I say 11, not 10, 11 going above. There's one who was my former nanny's son. He said his grades are not good enough to go to university. And I said, no, but the thing is you're eager to learn something. He's not even thinking about computers. Trust me, he said, I'm talking about this year, last year in December. He said, computer science is not a thing I believe I can do because my grades are not strong enough or math is not strong enough. I said, no, you can do it. I mean, are you interested? He's like, yeah, if I get a chance, fine. So I started teaching him how to code. And my teaching is not that I sit down with you and teach you how to code. I give you a website. I don't spoon feed. I said, go read. He went and read. It's like, okay, it's not too bad. I didn't know all along for 2 weeks this boy was actually trying to program or read everything from a phone that he can barely scroll. The phone is not good enough. Yeah. Then he told me that I have an old laptop at home. I got it fixed. I gave it to him. He started coding basics. Do you know right now he has created a very nice fully functional website. He has installed operating systems. He did not know how to use a computer. But in less than 2 months, 2 months he has a website. He knows how to code.
Yeah.
He knows how to install Linux operating system. He knows how to do basic hacking.
What?
Wait, he's 11.
No. He's 20.
Oh.
I think he's 20 years old now, 21. Okay. And I got him enrolled in a certificate program at JQuat. He went through and he's passing exams like.
But you see, that's what I'm talking about, Dr. Bright. Even as we were talking about it with Lucy, because now we're sharing secrets of what we talked about before the session began.
You will
But
forgive me
Lucy
for
was
that,
telling
will
us- Lucy was telling us that she did, this is your third session
Yeah.
of the Absa Ready to Work sessions that have been, thank you so much to Absa for, conducting these. I wish I watched some of these things when I was 19 or 18 or 20. It would have changed the course of my life immensely. But you were saying that this isn't something you had ever done before. So moderating is something that you never thought you as Lucy would ever do because you were in the banking industry, right? But that's what I'm saying. This is another revenue stream. There's so many people who do so many different things, not because they ever saw themselves doing those things. Mumbi said she became HR by accident. I became, I got into media by accident. Dr. Bright just said he just had so much time until he realized, by the way, I can do this cybersecurity story, because that's what happens. We need to allow life to happen. It doesn't go according to plan. You see, the same way you're in uni right now and you're hoping if you finish uni, You're
Get
going
a
to meet this,
job.
you're going to meet this amazing man. You're going to get married, and you're going to live in this white picket fence house with a nice,
Doesn't
cute
happen that
white
way.
puppy, and then you're going to get a nice job, and you're going to move into the suburbs, and you're going to, and you're going to, and you those are all plans that you have. Life doesn't happen that way. You get into the banking industry. Lucy happens to be this extremely amazing moderator that gets more work as a moderator than as anyone in banking, and that becomes your main focus. The same with Dr. Bright. So then you diversify your portfolio, and you have a number of things that make money for you.
Yeah.
But this is sort of how it starts. You just
Yeah.
never know, and then you find yourself in the field. Right? How cool is that? And you just start making money from something that you never thought you'd make money from.
Yeah. Okay. And I have a question around that because you said you had a lot of time on your hand, and Amina, I'm gonna come back to you right after I ask Mombi a question about, you spoke about soft skills. You said it's no longer about technical skills. Borrowing from the conversation we were just having, it's more about, the soft skills and, how you brand yourself, how you dress, because long time ago we used to be told when you're going to a bank, there's a certain way you have to dress, maybe a suit, and just look clean. But times have changed, and depending on the sector you're in, you're no longer required to dress in a certain way or to address the HR in a certain way. What are some of these things that people have to look out for, even in the future as they go for interviews or as they start their own businesses?
So I think for me, thank you, Lucy. I think for me, there are a number of things that we have to think about. The world today is driven by customers. So it doesn't matter. The audience that you are, ask Amina, she dresses for the audience that she's speaking to. Ask Dr. Bright. He dresses for the audience that he is going to speak to, and he packages himself in different packages depending on who it is that you're going to meet and who it is that you're going to sell. Either it's a skill you're selling, or there are goods you're selling, or it's content you're selling. And that's how I tell people the world today is you need to package yourself for your audience. So I'm aware that people think, oh, bankers, you always have to wear a tie and you need to wear a suit. And many of the young people on the call are like, gosh, I just like jeans and I like sneakers and that's how I want to go. But I tell people, if you are going to be the next best relationship manager, for example, in our world, and I am going to go in and see the CS, because the CS in terms of my clientele is in my portfolio, and the CS obviously dresses in a suit because that's how he is and that's how he manages his work, then you won't show up to him in sneakers and jeans because that doesn't speak to him. You will show up to him dressed the way he sees professionalism. His interpretation of professionalism is what drives what it is that he wears. And therefore, he expects that the next relationship manager who walks into his office will be dressed in a certain way. So if you walk into our office when we had face to face, now it's different because we are working from home, most of us. But I remember when you walked into the technology floor, there's no one in our office who was in the technology team who wore suits, but they came in their jeans and sneakers. Why? Because the people they serve are usually online. That's how they expend their time by servicing our customers. That means even the colleagues, but they do that online. So if I am sitting in my office as a HR professional and I don't have a board meeting or I don't have a session that requires me to come to the media, I'll probably be very simple dressed and casually dressed because that's the way I want to do my job on that day. So it's no longer defining dressing based on where you work. I think it is defining dressing based on who your clientele is and based on what it is that you want to be known for. So when I look at Apple when they're announcing their products, it's just amazing. Everybody is the way they are because that's the culture of that organization, and they are more back end. They are more very laid back in terms of their dressing. But when you look at different professions, even in the government, people dress because that's the profession, but also because of the audience that they are going to meet. I think I want to add something to what Amina was talking about there in terms, and Dr. Bright, because I think it's important for us to know there are certain skills. So you'll be surprised that we are training leaders in personal branding, and that includes grooming. So I don't think anyone teaches us much about grooming in terms of how you show up, because that represents who you are. But I urge the young people on this call. I am always surprised. I have kids who are in campus today. I'm very surprised at how much time young people are wasting online, because you're going to watch videos that will not add value to your life. I am always challenging my young people to say, you have data bundles, you probably are living in a home where your parents are able to provide for you data. Use the opportunity to build more skills, because that will take you very far in life. It will give you the additional revenue streams that Amina and Dr. Bright are talking about. You cannot sustain yourself on one revenue stream. I tell you that. I don't think I sustain my life on one revenue stream. I don't. But I have built certain other skills that are able to actually allow me to live a fulfilled life. And my challenge to the people on this line is, instead of you going to just spend your time on useless videos online, go and learn Python. It is readily available, it is free, it is on YouTube. Then start coding, because I can tell you there is no corporate organization right now that is not looking for coding people and coding professionals, because that's how you understand the customers, and you're able to do a lot of the stuff that we need to do. So there are many skills. Learn how to be a best public speaker, so that you can present your skills in the next interview in an exciting way. Learn how to do different things. To write. Writing, communication is so big in our world today. We are actually hiring people who will teach us how to communicate. Why? Because it's a skill that we haven't seen in the corporate world. So my encouragement to the young people is, the internet is your friend. The internet is a source of a lot of information. Learn and relearn, because that's what the world is asking us to do. To relearn the new things that we knew, and to unlearn things as they become archaic, so that we can learn new skills as we go along.
Thank you so much, Mobi, for that. And I know Bright is burning to add on to that. So is Amina. So I'm just going to give you 1 minute each, and then you can add to what Mumbi was saying.
Mumbi, if you were in front of me right now, I'd have given you a very big high five.
I would have given her a hug. She said so many things.
So I'll do that virtually from here. Young people spending time on doing unnecessary things sometimes is just questioning. People spend for 1 hour, 2 hours watching a particular video that's not going to add value. Look at it this way. According to COVID, or due to the pandemic rather, a lot of things open up where there are courses on Udemy. Udemy is udemy.com. There is Pluralsight, there is Oxford, Harvard. If you go on those websites, there are so many free courses for you to do. Every day they give you free coupons. Like this now, right now, there's an April coupon on Udemy for you to learn skills like data analytics, to learn Python language, as Mobi talked about, the basic HTML. If you go for a young person who's doing software engineering or wants to get into cybersecurity, if you go to freecodecamp.org, free courses that are there, always free. Completely free for you to learn basics of coding. I always send people there, and I say, go read that and come back. But the majority of them don't come back. Why? They don't have the zeal to be able to do something new. And all of these free courses, they are so cheap that they used to be like $1,000. They're now $21. They're $15. They're $10 courses, which you can actually just take and do. You have to keep on learning new things. You can't keep on waiting on the school, things you learn in school just to give you can't, and the likes, or waiting to do masters before you get to another level. You have to keep on learning new skills. All of those are available online. Even if you go to YouTube and search how to program in Python or Python 101, trust me, you'll get a free course that will teach you all of those. And you don't need too many resources in terms of computers to be able to do that. If you go to my website, brightzed.com, brightzed.com, I have a link there called commands. Click on that command. On that link, you will see a list of tutorials of how to get books for free.
Awesome.
I wrote 3 tutorials there. It's always been there. I did that for my sister when I was in uni. She wanted books. She's like, I just can't afford these books right now. I said, I'll help you to get them, because there are people who actually leave books for free online, and I wrote 3 tutorials there. brightzed.com, brightzed.com. Go there, click on commands. I wrote 3 tutorials there. Use that to get books for free. Everything is available. We have too many resources that people are not using, and it's about time we need to start changing the narrative.
Yeah. And it's not only that, as Bright is saying, there are a number of sites that you can go and learn free courses. And not only that, but also learn how you can start your own business. As Mumbi has said, and Dr. Bright has added, and we were burning, like when Mumbi was talking, we were like, oh my God, I have something to say on what she's just said. Because a lot of us use social media as a platform to just check out who's dating who, see who has bought who, what, where, why, when. That is not as important. I mean, I understand entertainment is needed. It's important, especially during these really
Lockdown,
difficult times that we're living in right now. Unprecedented is a term that you can use, but it's just been very difficult. So entertainment is needed. But not only that, you can't just only go online all the time and you're just consuming and consuming and consuming content. You also need to get online, learn, and also use that very platform that you're using to entertain yourself to also make some money. There's so many sites that offer so many free courses, so many different ways with which you can make money. Free websites where if you know English, you can teach. You can translate languages from whatever language to English, and it's done for you. All you have to do is read it in English. All you have to do is do your due diligence, which I think is where the problem arises. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. There is nothing easy. There is no quick scheme. There's nothing you can do today and wake up tomorrow unless you're stealing. There is nothing you can do that's going to make you quick money, right? So there's so many different platforms and websites that you can learn, that you can make money from, whether it's writing books. I saw there's a new website where you get to learn how to, just make your own book and write books and sell it for about $1, $2. That's about 200 bob, right? So you're there selling books for 200 bob. You're busy, employed 9 to 5. Those are two different streams of income. And you're wondering, how do people make it? You can't make it only with one. And you have to have a number of them. But if you're only online, constantly just watching, hiding your identity, sipping some of that tea, and nothing else, well, there's no money that you're going to be making.
Yeah.
Lazima uende usome. Najua ina sound ni kama ni kitu complicated sana, lakini lazima uende usome. Ukienda kwa hizi websites zote, there are all these different ones that, depending on what it is that you like. And you can go online, and Dr. Bright is right. If you're into cybersecurity and you want to learn coding, my 14-year-old nephew has started doing courses. And it's not only at random ass websites that you can't even really know who they are. There's some big universities, like Harvard is offering free courses. Have you taken advantage of that?
Yeah.
Have you taken advantage of that? There's so many courses from so many international institutions that you've not yet even started. If you haven't even applied, but you're sitting at home, you're calling out to the government, you're waiting for your family, you have a rich uncle, you're wondering why he's not going to give you anything. That is the entitlement that we're calling out. Stop. Go.
Do you know
read.
there's a free university for people?
Oh, is there?
There's
Oh,
so
yeah. There's
many,
one
though.
called University of People or University of the People. I don't know the full URL.
Yeah.
If you go there, you can take a full degree for free.
For free.
And there are a number
For
of them.
free,
There are a
yeah.
number of
And it's
them depending on the
marketable.
course
Like you can go and tell
One
Mombi I
of-
have a degree
There
from
you
this.
go.
One of my
It is.
colleagues actually got a degree from that. He's hired.
Okay.
It's called University of the People, something like that. You just have to write to them, hi, my name is this. I don't think I can afford the university course.
Yeah.
Please, he got it online.
And I'm telling you, Lucy,
If
it's
you go-
not just, there's so many.
So
oh my gosh,
many.
there's so many.
South
Yeah.
Korea.
Big interest.
Do you know I never paid school fees?
No.
South Korea, most foreigners don't pay school fees. It's absolutely free. All you need to do is apply. So there's something called the KGSP program, Kenya Korean Government Scholarship Program. Look for it. Go apply. They actually pay you to study.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, yes. If you actually do the Korean course for 1 year, they pay you to study.
And this is going to sound so controversial, but also when it comes to the government, specifically here in Kenya, there's so many different things that they offer for you as a young person,
Yes.
as a young woman, as a person living with disabilities. Have you even researched? Have you researched? Have you gone online to find out, Ati, what is this fund called and what does this fund do?
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who are benefiting from so many different things that you're not taking time to learn from. You want it easy. You want it quick. You want to tune into
Spoon-feeding.
the Ready to Work session, and hopefully Lucy, Amina, and Dr. Bright are going to give you a link
Everything.
to some website. You're going to go, you're going to start making money.
No.
That's not how it's done. There is a lot of research, Lucy, that needs to take place. And you have to stop this, I am entitled entitled. You have to stop feeling entitled in any way.
Yeah.
There's no one who owes you anything, and we were talking about that
Yeah,
before.
I was.
No one
yeah,
owes you
because
anything.
even like you were saying, I have a rich uncle, I have a rich aunt, or I have this family member who's doing this. They need to get me a job. No, they don't.
Or even just the degree that you have. Life is so funny. Dr. Bright said that he started out. What did you do at the beginning? You said you were doing what when you started out? You did a number of odd jobs.
Oh yeah, I was a DJ. I was a hype man.
There you go. So he was a hype man. He was
Street
doing
battle.
events,
Yes, I was
right?
doing events.
He was organizing events. He was a promoter. And for the people who are watching right now, if you're between the ages of like 18 to 24, 25, you're still figuring out life. But because you are so persistent on the idea of the life that you have here in your head that is not translating to the reality of the life that you're living, you're so confused.
Yeah.
You're like, I was supposed to be an MD by now. I had dreams set on me being a CEO by the time I am 29. Why is this not happening? Awa watu wa Absa hawanipendi. No, that's not what it is. Sometimes you start out as a cleaner. Sometimes you start out as a cameraman. Before you get to the point that you own your production company or you're that MD and that CEO that you're talking about, there's so many different stages that you have to go through. And they're all very important to get you to your destination. Right, Dr.
Yeah.
Bright?
That's very true.
Very
Yeah.
needed. The skills that you acquire during that time, very important.
Yeah,
to make
and
you the kind of person you
I
are.
actually had a question along those lines of, you know, like back in the day, you just needed to be an accountant or a doctor or a pilot. But now times have changed. You no longer need to be those things. You can do all the gigs that Dr. Bright was talking about.
Yep.
You can be an influencer. You can be a DJ. And I think that's also maybe a space that young people are not, you know, venturing into. All these careers that have now come up. And maybe you can speak more into that as we wait for Mombi to give her comments. Some of these careers that have come up, even in your field, that were no longer there, or that are there, but people don't know about.
There are some people, like, for example, I was just telling Amina right now, people pay me to write. And they're paying you.
He just got paid today.
Yeah, even today.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying, you know, I'll pay you 100 shillings for every word. You've made 200, Bob.
You see, that's what we learned.
You know?
Composition,
That's the thing.
Lucy.
And
See,
I
that's what
was-
we learned.
It's no longer a composition.
Exactly.
It's
No,
something
it's
translated
like-
to
I
something
never
else.
used to be a writer,
Yeah.
but when I went to South Korea and I started studying, and I published about 14 papers, and all of those, the mistakes that I made, somebody had to correct me. I had to start learning. And people pay for this. This online, I mean, there's a time when the UN was paying me almost 50 shillings per every word that I write. And I was publishing with them, and I'll keep on writing. I'll get to 1,000 words. I'm like, let me add a few more. And I'm like, and you know, that's it. Something about social media, which is really important. I ask ladies who I am always telling them this. You're taking pictures. Somebody's taking a picture of you every single time. You're posing. You're posing for a particular brand. Who owns that picture? Once they take the picture, you're done. And I keep on asking them, why don't you have a simple website? It doesn't cost too much to create a website. If you use something like Wix, you can create your own website without any skills. Yeah. And if you put those pictures there and you pay somebody a little extra, like 20,000 or 30,000, and you do something like as a search engine optimization for you, your pictures will be internationally marketed out there where you become a brand. And I ask them, do you know what a lookbook is? They're like, oh, we've never. Go read about it. They never come back. That is how so many young, beautiful ladies are missing out on simple ways of making extra money. And I'm like, you can't keep on putting your brand just to Kenya. No. Look at you being all over in South Africa, Ghana. You have presence there. You can't. I asked the lookbook, your website, all these pictures you're taking, who has the right to those pictures? If you have the right to these pictures, try to put them on your own website. Try to market it out there. If anybody searches fashion or this kind of things online on Africa or Kenya, your name should come up first. They'll pay you 10 times more for the entire year of what you've been doing in Kenya. Yeah. And I keep on advising, just have to look. Try to create those little things and understand that there's way beyond just the normal job that we get around here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I know we have 5 minutes left of our session, and there's so many questions that have come in from different platforms, but luckily, as we were having the conversation, we answered most of them. So I'll not repeat them, but I hope that you've gotten your question answered. But there's a question here from what's his name? A question from Spencer to you, Dr. Bright, and he's asking, as a young PhD doctorate graduate, how can we ensure that PhD students do not rely only on academia as their next step in their career?
Just to answer that quickly, people thinking PhD is all about academia is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, I publish papers, but if you read any of those papers, which are available online, majority of them are very technical. They're not even just academic or things that will possibly happen. I'm talking about reality of things that you can actually be used. So people need to stop thinking PhD is all about being an academia. I mean, it's all academic way of being able to represent yourself. It's not. Like I said, I'm a very technical person, but people look at the PhD like for the fact that I have a PhD, I shouldn't know how to type a command. Trust me, I'll be the same person to hack the bank. Okay, not Absa, but I'm just saying. So it's way beyond academia. And yes, it's helpful that I'm lecturing at Strathmore.
Yeah.
I lecture at Strathmore University, the master's class, but the classes that I lecture are very technical. And even I tell my students how can they use their technical skills to do better things and apply them in even what they write. So it's way beyond academia. That's what the old school we used to think. Right now it's different.
And there's somewhere you said you do boot camps. Maybe you can
Yes.
speak more about that so people can find you if they want to get
Yes,
inspiration.
so we have Africa Hack-On boot camps that happen. We usually do them in universities and high schools. We've not been able to do that for the past 1 year because of the pandemic. But right now we do a lot of mentorship online. And if you check my social media page, I'm going to post a new link today of mentorship for young people in cybersecurity, in career mentorship, and how even this end of month, we do that every end of month. It's going to be about how to write your CVs, how to present yourself, what are the kind of questions you should expect, how to answer them, and how do you get in that path. So we do that every month in conjunction with another team called Cyber in Africa. So that will be every single end month. Until things have opened up again, we can have our physical meetups, and otherwise for now, it's online.
Okay, they can find you on. And Amina, there's a question here. I think we have answered to it, but just for the comfort of the person asking, maybe you can, in very short words, answer her question. She says, being a student in campus and currently at home with not much motivation to live, what should I do with my days before I get to this future where in Kenya you get nowhere without a godfather, no matter how book smart you are?
Who's that? What's the name?
The name is... They didn't give your name. Just a
Oh,
question.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I was just like, I got a question. Someone's asking me and not Dr. Bright. I think, man, life is really hard, right? Life at your life. Anyway, but life is really difficult, especially in this country. So just a little background so that I can give this young person a bit of my story. When I finished high school, my dad had invested in a number of different things, politics being one of them, and it didn't work out. So when I finished high school, there was no money to take me to uni. And I didn't have time to sit down and feel sorry for myself and throw a pity party, which is what I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I just got up and I told my dad I have to go find work. My dad was so shocked. My dad, who's now passed on, which is so crazy. I've never said that publicly, but my dad has since passed on. And when he was asking me all the time, where am I going to go, I used to tell him, mimi sikai kwa nyumba, ati sasa masomo yote tu inishe kwa kichwa. I even forget how to communicate in English. I will go out there and I'll find some job to do.
Yeah.
And I went and I started, just like Dr. Bright, and very many successful stories will tell you, you just start in very difficult positions. You're making tea, you're cleaning, you're cooking, you're setting up or setting down. As we did this, there's someone who's going to do the set down, there's someone who did the setup, right? And you think as the person doing the setup or the set down, man, I will never be the person to own this building that we're hosting this event in today. But it's all about belief and the effort that you put in. You will be discouraged so very many different times. There's so many people who do have those godfathers, who do come from very wealthy and privileged backgrounds, and you do not. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't waste any days. Dr. Bright and I have told you there's so many different websites that you can go online and not only learn, but also have an opportunity to make some money. Kwa sababu hii maisha ni ngumu sana. You do not need to waste that time. And it was so interesting. We talked about this before the session began. We all have 24 hours. People ask me all the time, oh, how do I work so hard? Or how do I put in I don't even notice that I work hard or I honestly don't see it because there's still so many more hours. Like today, this is the only thing that I'm going to do, right? But on so many other days, I have the full 24 hours packed. So you cannot wonder. I woke up at 3 a.m. to get ready for this event, and I had a meeting and a session where I was still talking in another country at a different hour and different time at around 4:30 a.m. So you woke up at midday or at 11 just to catch the end of this session. So you cannot, honestly, it's so unfair. So you cannot also demand the same results of someone who's been up
At
from 2
3,
o'clock in the
at
morning
2, yeah.
or 3 a.m. and is going to go to bed at midnight or past 1 o'clock in the morning. It's very, very different. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't feel bad about your situation. There's so many people who've started like where you are right now. The difference is that they're not quitting, they're not feeling sorry for themselves, and they're ready to roll up the sleeves and put in
And
the
move
work.
on. Thank you for that, very well answered. Question for Mombi from Richard Charo. He says, since we are currently stuck in the COVID era, what are some of the best strategies one needs to adapt in order to have a holistic development in the future?
Thank you. I think I want to start with a statement, one that has really changed my life. Whatever you pay attention to grows. That means if I am paying attention to negative energy, or I'm paying attention to my way, or I'm paying attention to, that's what grows in my mind. And we have to appreciate that the brain, the way we're created, the brain is a very powerful tool. And it can transform your life or it can destroy your life because of what I am focused on. So to the question of what is it that I am going, what are I think the question is, how do you adapt in this scenario? I am always telling people time is the most expensive thing, or every wealthy man and woman talks about. They say they are very deliberate on what it is that they do with their time, which is why I raised the issue earlier in terms of how are you spending your time even when you're online. So one of the things is build the discipline of what you do with your time. That's one of the things. Determine that if it's you want entertainment, you say I will only do 90 minutes of my day as entertainment. I will do another 90 minutes of a workout. I will do another 90 minutes. I will read a book. I will do another 90 minutes. I am going to go online and learn a new skill. I will do another 90 minutes. I'm going to be responsible at home, because that's what we need to do. So determine what you do your time. In doing that, you then create the right habits. So Amina just spoke about the fact that she woke up very early. I can tell you, every wealthy person works very hard for their wealth.
Keyword.
You cannot, as she said, wake up at midday. So you have to also then create the right habits. I tell people one of the things that has worked for me, and I think it has worked for many other people, when you start your day in the morning, choose to wake up early. And in those initial hours of your day, spend the time in meditation. Some of us, it's meditating in prayer, others, it's meditating in reading a self help book. But meditate and construct in your mind the dream you want to see for that day. Set your energy for that day at that time. That habit consistently, when you do this for years, becomes one of the best things that you will learn. That when I wake up in the morning, I have the habit of reflecting and meditating, whether it's prayer or just meditating in other means. So that's the other thing for me. Two is choose to help people. You have a lot of time, find something in your community that you can contribute to. There are children that are now on holiday. You have just graduated from high school. Are you sure that you cannot contribute 90 minutes of your day every day to teach them something, or to engage in a game so that they can see you as a role model in your community? How do you sell yourself in your community? Because then you're also exercising the skills that we are talking about. You're able to contribute to the positive things that are happening in our society. We are all speaking about how our society is becoming rotten, how we are not having role models. Why are you not the role model for the young people that are growing up in your society, in your estate? It doesn't matter whether you live in flats or whether you live in the village, or whether the wisdom is there are certain things that will carry you through in life. One of it is how well you contribute to make the society that you want to see. So if you are sleeping the whole day, I can tell you the generation behind you, and you probably have young sisters and young brothers, young cousins, your nephews, they are watching you and they see that you sleep every day, and then you become poor eventually, because I can tell you the Bible is very clear. You sleep a little and then poverty creeps on you. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You have to create certain habits. And that's my encouragement for young people. Wake up every day and wake up early and have a schedule. There is a lot you can do in this society. Instead of you staying at home, you can contribute. Why haven't you negotiated that there is garbage outside your estate and ask every member of that estate to give you 100 shillings because on a certain day you're going to clean up? It's a dirty job, but most of us started with dirty jobs. I started off as, and I always say, I started off as a receptionist somewhere in a small organization. And you know, in those days, receptionists were not treated well. And I still remember just how people look down on you. It's a dirty job, yes. But you have to start somewhere because that's how
Yeah.
you build the discipline of wealth. The discipline of wealth creation is built in mundane things and everyday things. So, my encouragement to you, one, wake up early, meditate, set the energy of your day, determine what it is that you will do, and have a number of activities throughout the day. Because boredom is one of the things that you don't want. Boredom is destructive. I've never forgotten my primary school headmaster and a headmistress. She used to tell us, an idle mind is the devil's
Devil's
workshop.
workshop.
So the people who are online trying to bring down other people who are
Trolling.
posting all
Yeah.
the negative things, it's because they have the time. They have an idle mind. Don't allow yourself to be the vessel that destroys humanity. Be useful to our society. And the fact that you have life today, the fact that you woke up, this is the best gift that you can give to us as a community and as a country. So that's the response. I mean, it may sound very philosophical, but it's not. It's actually the reality of wealthy people. And you watch a lot of them, Richard Branson, look at the Kenyattas, you can say whatever you want to say. Look at everyone in this organization. Look at the Aminas who have got like 5 roles. I don't even know how they do it. But I know one of the things that they do, that they are very deliberate about how they spend their time every day. So that would be my response to that question. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mumbi, for that. And I know we are out of time, but I know Amina and Bright are burning to say something. But since we don't have time and we don't want to take too much of your time, which wealthy people take care of, we are just going to take there's a poll that's going to come to your screen for the people who are watching us on Zoom. Please give us your feedback so we can improve it and just make it much better for you next time. And then if you're on Facebook and YouTube, continue answering my question for a chance to walk away with merchandise. And as you guys do the poll, I'm going to give Dr. Bright and Amina just 20 seconds to maybe give your closing remarks.
20 seconds is very short, but I'll keep it very short.
Yeah.
Just basically, my research assistant is 16 years old. He actually does research about what I have to do. When I give him an idea, he'll go research. He started from 11 with me. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Time is one of the most important things. I don't play with that. Be it you're a rich person or whatever, but if you don't respect my time, that means we can't work.
Yeah.
So I'm always cautious about
Strict
time.
about time,
And
yeah.
one thing I tell people is you need to write things down. Everything that I think about or everything I have to plan for the day is on my phone. Me too. Activities, what I have to do today, what I'm going to do tomorrow, I put them down and I do a checklist. There are so many tools. There's Google Keep Notes. There is Microsoft To Do, which you can download them from Play Store. They are very easy to get. So you need to make sure that you know how to use the time and use it wisely. And don't let people disrespect your time. With that, I think we just have to keep on working, keep on researching, and we have available resources. Let's make use of them.
Oh my gosh, 20 seconds. I don't know how to do that. I'm so
Pressure,
confused
pressure.
right now. But Mumbi, I know we'll not get a chance to meet as this was virtual. I want us to be personal friends. Get my number. Get my number. Because let me tell you, I learn so much more from people who are older than me, and I'm constantly taking notes all the time. They say that you'll never live long enough to experience and make all of the mistakes that you can make in life. So why don't you learn from others who've come before you? When Dr. Bright is talking about his 16-year-old assistant, I'm like, what? That is how I was maybe 18 or 19 when I started working. The first time I started making money was like 2-3K, but that's not important. The important part is that I was making money from when I was 18, 19. It is so hard. It is not easy. If you think that the media industry is an industry you can come to waltz and just make money and become famous, and there's a lot of glitz and glam that accompanies that career and that job, it's not as easy. It's very, very difficult. And like Lucy said at the beginning, you might need godfathers, you might need this and might need that, but it is still not impossible to do. It is not impossible for you to achieve anything. If you think that I have achieved anything, I'm telling you, especially kama unawachi session, na wewe ni mse wa Islando, wewe ni mse wa ghetto, manze umetoka mali, like hakuna do, mother hana job, buda hayuko, you can do. If I'm sitting here today and they thought I had a story to tell, I believe you can too. But like, you have to work hard. You have to do a lot of research. You have to spend the number of hours that you spend going online and checking out all of those entertainment sites, the number of hours that you check to watch Netflix, all of those hours can be spent living and building your life. It's not that we don't go through depression. It's not that we don't have anxiety, which is something that comes when you're in this industry. You're walking into a room, everyone knows you, you don't know them, you're wondering why they're looking at you badly. It comes with it. It's part of the territory. It's part of the job. You deal with it. You get therapists if you can. You read if you can. You do meditation if you can. You pray, because let me tell you, this industry will make you call God very many times. You will be calling upon the Lord. It is a very challenging industry where in 1 second you can lose everything. Social media has become very, very powerful. Please don't use it only to troll people and to find out what other people are up to. Use it to make money. Use it to better yourself so that even you tomorrow, you can sit here and inspire the next generation. I believe in you in case you don't, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you. I feel like that was personal.
It was.
But all the best, guys. Please continue. For the guys on Zoom, please continue participating in the poll. We are 73% so far. So please continue giving us your feedback. And I have the winners from the question that I asked at the beginning. We have Teddy Kyoko, we have Lea Wamoyo, Omar Tufa, Nora Moreithi, Lenny, and Amos. And please just comment below your nearest Absa branch, and we are going to deliver the package to where you are. And in case you're on Facebook and YouTube, we still don't have winners there. So continue answering my question. The question was, how many modules are in Ready to Work, and where can you find the Ready to Work program? It's been an amazing session, and
Thank you, Lucy.
Thanks
for having
Nice
us.
job, by the way. I
Yeah.
look great, by the way. I don't know why
Thank
Dr. Bright
you,
didn't
thank
tell you
you.
later to be on me. You una kapua, madam.
thank
she
you
is
so
looking good.
much.
I
Thank
know you
you.
didn't tell her, so I'm telling her. I'm telling her.
You must say happy.
Guilty. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next series of the webinars. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.